Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to make this snake knot bracelet, and this is what it looks like. So in this case I'm using two different colours just to show you the effect that you can get. You can also easily just use one colour and add beads as well if you want to. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. But this is the bracelet, the technique that I'm going to be showing you how to do. So if you want to learn how to do this, then keep watching. And these are the things that we'll need to make this bracelet. Now in this case I'm just working with some 2mm satin cord in two different colours. I've got a black one and a light blue one. And this is just what I'll be showing you with. But you can use many different kinds of cord or thread for this. This is just to show you the knot. And then also I've got some beads here, and this is just if you want to add beads into it, you don't have to. But these are some 10mm Stardust round beads in silver. And what you have to make sure of is that your beads have a fairly large hole for all your cord to go through. And these holes are about 5mm. So if you want to use some beads, that's just what you got to make sure of. So get your things together and then let's get started. Now all I've done is I've cut one length of each of my colours. So whatever you're working with, just cut one length of each, and each of these are about 1 metre long. And this will be sufficient to roughly make a bracelet size. And then I've also just put them together at one end and tied a knot. This is just to keep them together, basically just to help start off the bracelet. So to start making the knot, what we need to do is you can always pin this into a board if you want to, just to help you start it off. But we need to start with one side first. So I'm going to take my black one and put it underneath my light blue one, and then back around the top like this. So you've looped it around with the blue running down the middle of the loop, like so. And then you're going to take the light blue one and make a loop with that as well, but along the other side. So now you're going to take the blue, go around on top of your black cord, my black cord, and then around the back above it, and then back through the loop, the black loop that you created to begin with, like so. So you've basically got two loops here. The black one that you started out making, that loops around the blue cord, and then the blue one loops around the black in opposite directions. So the black one I started going underneath the blue and then on top, around the blue, and then the blue one again went above the black and then around the back and through the black loop as well. So that's how you start out. You've got the two loops, and then what we need to do now is tighten them. So you can just do this however far up you want to your bracelet to start. You tighten them like so, and then that's the beginning of your bracelet. So now to keep building on this, what we need to do is make another loop, and we use one cord at a time. So I'm going to take my black one and then take it back around the back of the blue, because remember that's what we did originally. And before I then loop it back around, I'm just going to loosen up this blue loop, so the opposite cord, a little bit, like so, because we need to then grab the end of the black one that's coming around the back of the blue from here, then go back around the top and then down through that loop, and then pull it all the way through, like so. And then we can tighten that blue one again, because you now got your black one in that loop, and then tighten both of them. Tighten everything really, like so. That's now the beginning of your second knot. So we now technically have two loops of the black one and one of the blue. So we now need to switch over and do another one with the blue. So I'm going to flip over my piece, so I'm always working from the right side, and then do the exact same thing. So take your blue one, loop it around the back of the black, and then before we go further we need to just loosen the bottom loop of the opposite cord, so the black one in my case, just the bottom one, and just enough to be able to grab the end of the blue one that's coming from behind and put that through from the front, like so. and then we can tighten them up again. Tighten up the black one and then the blue one, and then we just tighten them completely like so. So that's now your second full knot there. So we have the pattern starting, and you just kind of basically keep going like this. I'm going to turn it back around again. Do the same thing with my black one. So I'm always working from the right side, loop it around the back, and then loosen up the bottom blue one, just enough to get your cord through from the front, and then pull it all the way through, and then we can tighten it again, and then tighten up the other one. And then I like to kind of pull them both like this and push up the knot to make it nice and tight and look neat. Flip over your piece again. So the light blue goes behind. We loosen up the bottom black cord, loop, grab the end of the blue one, go through it from the front, like so, and then tighten back up. And then we tighten them both and push up the knot. And that's the third knot. And as you can see, you now have that pattern starting to form that nice snake knot. So just keep going like this for however long you want to. And you can also add beads into it if you want to, that's completely up to you. But that's basically the knot. So I've now gotten a little bit further with my bracelet, and as you can see, I'm doing little sections of the knots and then adding in a bead, and then alternating like that, a section, a bead, a section, a bead, and so on. And I'm just going to show you how to add in a bead if you want to add beads to your bracelet. So what you need to do is, the beads that you're using, the hole's got to be big enough to go around both your cords. So I'm using these Stardust rounds, and they have a 5mm hole. And then all you do is you want to keep making your snake knot, but do it as if you're starting from the beginning. So at the very beginning, on this side of the bead now, after we pushed it up, we took our black one, took it underneath the other one, and back around to make that loop around the blue one. And then we took the blue one above the black one and back behind, and then back through the black loop. So we have the two loops sitting like this. So that's how we started out the bracelet. And that's how you want to start every time if you're adding on a bead. And then you just tighten it like this. And then obviously you want to make sure that it sits as close to the bead as possible, so it kind of locks that bead in place. And what you can do is get some chain nose pliers that can help you tighten up the knot nicely. And just pull it so you get it right and tight, right below that bead, like so. And then that's your first knot there. And then all you do is continue making your knots just like you were doing throughout the rest of the bracelet, and then it'll keep growing. Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to finish off a macrame bracelet. Now there's a few different ways you can do this, and I'm going to show you my two favourite ways of doing it in this video. Now this is basically a sliding clasp where you use no findings, you just use whatever cord that you've used throughout and some extra beads. So you can say this will probably be the easiest way of doing it, you don't need many extra materials.